back to part 5 of The Perspective with Douglas Broderick, the resident coordinator for the United Nations in Indonesia. Youth.
Huge. Huge challenge and huge opportunity. All the UN agencies were working very hard. A lot of our programs and initiatives are focused on youth. For instance, we're focusing on climate change and environment with youth, with UNDP and with our Norwegian donors. It's very important for us to target youth in terms of activities, in terms of education, especially health education, especially helping youth make that big transition from their youthhood, their teenage years, to adulthood and to their working experience. So the UN agencies all across the board have different programs at different levels to work with youth in terms of, it could be in education, or it could be with health education, or it could be with literacy programs, or awareness on climate change, or how the environment affects us. So we make sure that we incorporate youth in all the programs and activities. Obviously, almost half of the Indonesian population is youth, and that's the target, that's the future, that's where we want to be, and that's who we're working at. And I, in terms of my role, anytime I have a chance to talk to youth, anytime I can target youth on a speech and talk, I relish that opportunity and always go for that. And I make sure when we have projects and programs in the future, we always take in account youth, because youth are the future leaders of the country, and that's where we want to be in terms of influencing up, in terms of making sure in the next decades that youth are proper and ready for the challenge of Indonesia's growth, and ready to help Indonesia a better country, especially getting youth more involved in governance, in e-governance, in participation, in democracy, and those kind of things we want to do very heavily.
And finally, just what's the big picture for the UN?
Well, the UN has lots of challenges. I think you're well aware that there's Sudan, there's Syria, there's Chad, there's Ebola, there's South Sudan, there's Sudan, there's Iraq. There's many challenges we have. We're dealing with lots of conflicts and lots of challenges with small wars, big wars around the world. So that's become a very big challenge with the UN. And on top of that, the UN has been challenged by Ebola. But in Indonesia, we're lucky that we have a positive trend. We have a very good opportunity here. And at the end of the day, the UN is moving from basically becoming a donor, which we were in the past, to a real solid partner with the Indonesian government. And this is what we're building on in terms of making sure that we're equal partners. We both have equity in the game, and we make sure that we're addressing goals and challenges that the Indonesian government wants us to do, and we want to work together on, especially with the new 5-year plan. So I feel very positive that our relationship will evolve to another level, and Indonesia will progress significantly and magnificently from $1 to $2 trillion economy in the future. So it's a positive story and an opportunity for all of us to take care of, but also some challenges that all of us must work together on in the future.
Thank you, Douglas. A lot of issues to talk about, but not quite enough time. That's it for The Perspective this time. Stick around.